if manifesting what you want has ever felt harder than it should. Like no matter how much you visualize or set intentions, something keeps you stuck. There's a deeper reason. It's not about lacking discipline or clarity. The real issue is that most of what you've been taught about creating change depends on forcing your mind to think positively, forcing your body to stay motivated, forcing reality to meet your timeline. In the realm of quantum physics and consciousness, force is rarely the catalyst for transformation. Instead, there's a phenomenon that explains why so many people get exhausted chasing results that never arrive: frequency interference. When your inner state is filled with tension, effort, and anxious wanting, you create noise in your energetic signal. One part of you is broadcasting desire, but another is broadcasting fear it won't happen. The quantum field responds to the totality of that mixed signal, not just your stated intention. This is where the quantum frequency shift comes in. Change so fundamental, it reorganizes your entire relationship with reality. It's not about thinking harder, working more, performing elaborate rituals. It's about generating a coherent frequency within your own field that harmonizes with the experience you're choosing. Paradoxically, the shift happens the moment you stop trying to force reality into compliance. The energy you were scattering in frustration consolidates. Your nervous system relaxes. Your awareness widens. You move from a contracted, inconsistent signal to a stable, harmonious one. And in that state, the field mirrors your intention with greater clarity. Science backs this up. Every thought produces an electromagnetic signature. Every emotional state generates measurable patterns in your heart and brain. Under stress, your heart rhythm becomes jagged, your breathing shallow, your brain waves disordered, incoherent state that researchers call biological noise. It's like trying to tune into a beautiful song on an old radio while static drowns it out. This is why people can spend years repeating affirmations or visualizing their goals without real change. They're layering positive thoughts over a body still stuck in survival mode. They're sending out words of abundance while their energy broadcasts lack. The quantum frequency shift isn't about forcing yourself into positivity. It's about creating the conditions for coherence to arise naturally. This means aligning breath, heart, and mind so your energy stabilizes into one powerful unified signal. It doesn't require perfection or constant thought monitoring. Your nervous system can reorganize itself when given the right inputs: slower, deeper breathing, and intention rooted in curiosity rather than desperation, and a willingness to release urgency. Every outcome in your life has been shaped by the frequency you consistently broadcast, not the fleeting high points, but the baseline you return to when no one's watching. That frequency is simply the sum of your thoughts, emotions, and physiological state. When coherence happens, when your breath, heart, and mind synchronize, you feel it. A softening, an openness, a calm knowing that you don't need to prove or chase anything. Ironically, it's often in this state of non-attachment that life starts responding in ways you once believed required struggle. In this part of the journey, we're going to explore the scientific foundation for the quantum frequency shift, how researchers measure coherence, why it's vital for transforming your energy, and how this process mirrors what ancient wisdom has always taught about surrender, presence, and precision. Once you understand this, you'll see that the life you've been trying to force into existence is already available, waiting for you to tune into its frequency. If you've ever wondered whether this frequency shift is just a poetic metaphor or something science can truly measure, you're not alone. It's natural to want evidence for something that sounds so intangible. But here's what's extraordinary. At the intersection of quantum physics, neuroscience, and ancient spiritual traditions, we find the same principle. Your internal state isn't just a feeling, it's a measurable signal. And that signal is shaping reality moment by moment. Let's begin with the science. In neurocardiology, researchers have discovered that your heart generates the most powerful electromagnetic field in your body, many times stronger than the field created by your brain. This field extends several feet beyond your skin and can be measured with sensitive instruments like magnetocardiograms. When you feel frustration, anxiety, or any form of survival stress, your heart rhythm becomes jagged and erratic. This state is called incoherence. It's not a moral failing. It's simply the signature of a nervous system in defense mode. But here's the issue. When your heart rhythm is disordered, your brain waves also become chaotic. Your breathing shortens, your immune system goes on high alert, and your perception narrows to scan for threats. This ancient survival mechanism once kept us alive, but in modern life, it often becomes a chronic baseline, silently broadcasting stress into the quantum field. Now contrast this with coherence. When you intentionally slow your breathing and focus on feelings like appreciation or calm, your heart rhythm shifts into a smooth, sine wave-like pattern. This state of heart-brain coherence has measurable benefits. Stress hormones like cortisol decrease, regenerative hormones like DHEA increase. Your brain waves synchronize with your heart rhythm. Your immune system strengthens, and your perception expands beyond fear-driven thinking. From a quantum perspective, coherence creates a stable, powerful frequency, one that can interact with the field in ways incoherence simply can't. Imagine tuning forks. When one vibrates, the other naturally begins to resonate with the same frequency. This process, called entrainment, is exactly what happens when your coherent field influences the environment around you, organizing the probabilities in the field to match your signal. This is why, in elevated states, synchronicities happen. More often, solutions seem to appear out of nowhere, and life feels like it's flowing instead of resisting you. Ancient traditions described this state long before science had the tools to measure it. Yogic texts spoke of samadhi, a deep state of presence and unity. Mystics called it surrender, the art of releasing control and allowing a higher intelligence to organize reality. Taoist philosophy names it wu wei, or effortless action. The language varies, but the essence is the same. Release resistance, align your inner state, and reality reorganizes itself in response. And let's be clear, coherence doesn't mean you never feel fear or doubt. It means you don't live there. You learn to witness those fluctuations without letting them dominate your entire energy field. You return to a baseline of calm more easily because your nervous system recognizes it as home. This is why the quantum frequency shift isn't about forcing yourself to feel good all the time. It's about cultivating the conditions for coherence to arise naturally. Slower breath, relaxed awareness, and authentic intention. Once you experience this, something profound becomes clear. Effort is often a symptom of misalignment. The harder you push, the more you signal to the field that you are separate from what you desire. The more you release and attune, the more naturally life begins to respond. Notice that instead of waking up tense and mentally rehearsing worst-case scenarios, she began starting her mornings with the breath heart appreciation practice. Within a week, her body felt lighter, her focus clearer. She wasn't gripping so tightly to the outcome. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, the opportunity she had been chasing came through. Not because she pushed harder, but because she had shifted her state. The external result was simply a reflection of the internal clarity she had cultivated. This is the essence of the quantum frequency shift. It's not a magic trick. It's a physiological and energetic reorganization that happens when you release urgency. Embody appreciation and allow your nervous system to find harmony. When your breath slows, your heart rhythm smooths, your brainwaves synchronize, and your body chemistry shifts. From survival into regeneration, you are no longer broadcasting mixed signals. You become a coherent source in the quantum field, one that life can hear clearly. From here, action becomes inspired rather than desperate. Opportunities align naturally, conversations open up, synchronicities multiply. Not because you manipulated reality, but because you attuned yourself to the frequency of the reality you were inviting all along. And the beauty of this is that it doesn't require hours of meditation, complex rituals, or perfect circumstances. Just minutes of intentional breathing, genuine appreciation, and a willingness to feel what it would be like if your desire was already real. The more you return to this practice, the more it becomes your baseline, not a state you visit occasionally, but the natural atmosphere of your life. From this baseline, the gap between what you desire and what you live begins to dissolve, not because you're forcing it to close, but because you're resonating with it so consistently that the field can't help but reflect it back. 2. Over-monitoring your thoughts. It's natural to become more aware of your mental patterns when you start practicing coherence, but turning that awareness into constant self-surveillance backfires. You don't need to track every single thought. What matters is the overall emotional and physiological baseline you return to throughout the day. A few moments of doubt won't undo your progress if your dominant state is one of openness and trust. 3. Chasing instant results. The quantum frequency shift is not a slot machine to use. Don't pull the lever with a few breaths and expect reality to instantly rearrange. While rapid changes can happen, the deeper transformation is cumulative. Each time you return to coherence, you're reinforcing a new baseline that will naturally influence your external experience over time. 4. Turning the practice into another form of performance. If you find yourself doing the technique just to get something or prove that you're doing it right, pause and reset. Coherence is not a performance for the universe, it's a conversation with it. The sincerity of your presence matters more than how perfect your form looks. 5. Interpreting challenges as signs of failure. Even when you're fully aligned, life will still present growth opportunities. Challenges aren't proof you've lost your frequency, they're invitations to deepen it. When you meet them from coherence rather than reactivity, you transform them into stepping stones rather than setbacks. 6. Clinging to a specific outcome. Attachment creates tension, and tension distorts your signal. It's fine to have clear intentions, but pair them with flexibility. Allow the field to bring you what matches your frequency, which may be even better than the exact image you had in mind. The way through all these pitfalls is simple, but not always easy. Keep returning to presence. Every time you notice you're trying to force, measure, or control, breathe, soften, and reconnect with a voice. Genuine feeling of appreciation or trust. Over time, this becomes less of a technique and more of your natural way of being. When that happens, you stop trying to shift and start simply living in the shift. And that's when coherence becomes not just a practice you visit, but the home you live in. Got it. I've cleaned this part so it follows the same style we've been using. No timestamps, smoother flow, same meaning kept, and natural paragraph transitions. Instead, start with something real. Even if it feels small, the relief of taking a deeper breath, the simple appreciation that you have a moment to pause. Authenticity carries far more energetic coherence than any performance. Second, avoid using the practice as a strategy to manipulate outcomes. It's natural to hope that your life will improve when you align your energy, and over time, it will. But if your primary motive is to get something from the field or to manifest a specific result quickly, you slip back into force. The quantum frequency shift works best when you see coherence as an end in itself. The calm, the clarity, the sense of connection, these are the real gifts. From there, outcomes emerge organically, often in ways you couldn't have scripted. Third, watch for the trap of becoming hypervigilant about every thought. Once you realize your energy shapes reality, it's tempting to monitor your mind obsessively. You might catch a negative thought and immediately panic, fearing you've messed up your vibration. But this kind of mental control creates more incoherence. Thoughts will arise. Doubts will surface. None of this has to be a problem if you witness them without identifying with them. The field doesn't require perfection. It responds to your dominant, consistent frequency over time. Fourth, release the expectation of immediate, dramatic change. Some shifts can feel instant, moments of sudden clarity or relief. But more often, transformation is incremental, a gradual reorganization of perception and physiology. If you measure progress only by how fast reality rearranges itself, you'll miss the subtle indicators that your frequency is already rising. Deeper sleep, more spontaneous calm, less reactivity. These are the foundations for bigger shifts to come. Fifth, don't abandon the practice when life becomes challenging. Ironically, the moments you feel most contracted are the moments coherence can serve you most powerfully. Many people assume that if they can't feel calm, naturally the practice isn't working, so they stop. This is when it's most important to return to the basics, slowing your breath, softening your awareness, and remembering that your worth doesn't depend on feeling perfect. Over time, you build the capacity to stay coherent even in turbulence. When you understand these patterns, you stop seeing them as failures. You recognize them as part of the learning curve, opportunities to strengthen your ability to return to presence. This is what mastery looks like. Not an unbroken state of bliss, but a willingness to keep choosing alignment each time you drift away. One way to make this process easier is to shift your Dhoranath definition of success. Instead of asking, did I manifest what I wanted today? Did I return to coherence more often? Did I notice when I slipped into force? Did I soften my grip, even for a moment? These questions measure the only thing you can truly control, your internal state. And when you make coherence the priority, external shifts become inevitable. Not because you forced them, but because you stopped scattering your signal. Now that you've learned the principles behind the quantum frequency shift and explored how to recognize and avoid the most common traps, it's time to experience this shift for yourself. No amount of theory can replace the felt sense of coherence in your own body. This practice will only take a few minutes, but it can serve as a powerful reset whenever you feel yourself slipping back into effort and urgency. You can return to it anytime you need, to remember how simple it can be to align with a more stable frequency. Find a quiet place where you can sit comfortably, without distractions. You don't need to be in a perfect state of mind. You don't have to clear all your thoughts. Just bring your willingness to be here exactly as you are. Gently close your eyes or soften your gaze. Let your hands rest on your lap or over your heart, whichever feels more natural. Take a slow, steady inhale through your nose, feeling your belly expand. Hold the breath for a moment, then release it softly through your mouth. Do this 2 more times, each time letting the exhale become longer than the inhale. With your next breath, bring your attention to the space in the center of your chest. Imagine this space as a soft, luminous field, a quiet presence that has always been here, beneath the noise of your thoughts. As you continue to breathe, invite a feeling of appreciation into your awareness. It doesn't have to be overwhelming or perfect. Just find something simple you can be grateful for: the breath in your lungs, the steadiness of the chair supporting you, the fact that you've chosen to spend this moment with yourself. Let this feeling expand gently. You don't need to force it. You don't need to analyze it. Simply notice how your body responds as you hold appreciation in your awareness. Perhaps your shoulders drop. Perhaps your jaw softens. Perhaps you feel a subtle warmth in your chest. Stay here for a few breaths, allowing the sense of coherence to grow naturally. Now introduce a single question into the space of your heart. What would it feel like if I stopped forcing? Don't look for an answer in words. Let your body respond. Perhaps there's a small sense of relief, a soft exhale, a quiet spaciousness. This is coherence. This is the frequency beneath all striving. If you feel your mind drifting, just notice it and return to your breath and the feeling in your heart. You're not trying to create anything. You're simply remembering what it feels like to be in resonance. Stay here as long as you like. When you're ready, take one more slow inhale, feeling the stability of this state. And as you exhale, open your eyes gently, bringing this sense of coherence with you. If you felt something shift, even subtly, know that this is where real transformation begins. Not in grand gestures or dramatic breakthroughs, but in the moments when you choose to return to alignment without demanding instant proof. This is a practice you can carry into every part of your life, before a conversation, before you start your day. Whenever you feel the urge to control or to question your progress, you can pause, breathe, and remember, coherence is always available to you. If you found value here, if something in you feels a little clearer, a little calmer, a little more willing to trust, I invite you to stay connected. Subscribing isn't about collecting more techniques or chasing the next idea. It's about joining a community of people who are ready to live from this place of coherence together, a space where science and spirituality meet, where we can explore these principles with curiosity and depth, and where your evolution is supported one breath at a time. If this resonates, you can subscribe now and know that every time you return here, whether to learn something new or simply to remind yourself of what you already know, you are strengthening this frequency within yourself. Thank you for being here, for the quiet courage it takes to let go of force and trust the intelligence of your own field. Stay in coherence. Keep observing with compassion. And always remember, the field responds to who you are, not what you try to prove. If you want, I can now merge this with all the previous, cleaned parts, so you'll have one complete seamless script with no time codes at all. This way, you'll be ready to use it directly.